There we go. Sound should be coming through now, hopefully. Let's go double check it here. Let's close that out. Go back to here. Yep, there we go. Sorry about that, folks. Did forget the sound this morning. Don the DGen, good morning. I think you and I have been talking a little bit over at DGE's channel. So welcome to you, Richard and Vip. Good morning, all. Coffee and Craps with John. So today's show is going to be kind of a good morning, Zaf. Today's live show is going to be a little bit of a preview, short preview about the fundraiser coming up, and then a little more. I want to jump into bankroll management today. It's going to be a big topic for us, and I'm going to channel my inner John Patrick this morning. So forgive me if I call you all dorks, but that's what he would probably have me do. Here's the deal. The live fundraiser is coming up. I've gotten some clarity finally on what's going to happen here. Oh, George, good. Glad you're on the way back home. We can talk later about your time on the show here. So, let's talk about the lineup. I'm so excited about the live stream, the 24-hour crazy live stream that I'm going to do. We're going to raise money for folks with problem gambling addiction. And you'll see that the lineup we've got here is fantastic. We're going to go 24 hours straight. I will be here 24 hours straight. And it's going to work like this. I've got a couple open spots still. You'll notice, of course, the wee hours of the morning are going to be thin. I haven't talked yet to Ed, Roll to Win, Jacob from Wage Me This, George, Casino Quest, Vince, Armenti, and the Win-Craps folks. They're going to fill in some of the gaps here. It's just a matter of picking which time they're going to be on. But we got a pretty good lineup already. We're going to be kicking it off with me at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock. Hopefully we'll have, I'm not sure who yet at 7 o'clock. It might be Casino Quest. We're trying to work out time schedules there. DGE is going to be there. My second actual guest. Then we'll have El Toro on. I'm bringing El Toro out of retirement. He's going to be there with us at 9. Ken from Ken Knows Gambling will be on at 10. We're going to we might do some roulette, actually, Ken and I, or something different. I don't know yet. Hawaii Crap Shooters, I've got you penciled in at 11 o'clock my time, 9 o'clock your time. We'll talk about that and lock that in today. Dave from Same Bet's going to be on. The Square Pair guys will be on to start the morning off. Then I've got from 2 to 5 where I'm going to be kind of alone. You may get to watch me record a podcast for 4 hours. I don't know yet. We'll see what that's going to be. We'll open up the morning on Sunday with Craftsmaster Journey, followed by the Wizard of Odds. Michael Shackelford will be on here. And he has warned me, by the way. He's like, I know you love craps. He's like, I'm going to be honest. I'm like, dude, you're here to be honest with me. That's going to be great to have him just challenging everything I talk about, which is fun. We have a plan to do some live fantasy craps at 8 in the morning for a couple of hours. Somewhere in here, we're going to get George, I hope, in with me. I'm not sure when George fits in time-wise with his schedule, with work and the time difference. We'll figure that out. Greg at 555 Craps will join us at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Sunday, my time, Pacific time, followed by Jeff. Ken is going to come back and tell us about his journey to becoming a pro gambler, which will be an interesting story, I'm sure. Jeremy from Color Up at 4 o'clock, and then at 5 o'clock, we're going to bring everybody back. Big old Zoom call. We'll have probably 20 people on the Zoom call, and we'll just fire away. All throughout the day, we'll have some spots talking about the charity that we're raising money for, the National Council on Problem Gambling. We're going to have me playing. I'll probably play a bankroll throughout the night. I'm probably going to start out with whatever, probably 5K or something. And during the night, between guests, I'll roll 1 or 2 hands, and I'll try and kind of build that money up throughout the night. But I'm really looking forward to getting to know some people. I'm looking forward to getting to know Charlie a little bit. I haven't really talked to him at all, except for over email and on Skype or Discord just a little bit. So I'm looking forward to learning the DGE system from him. And I know he's got thoughts on bankroll. And I think all of you, I'm looking at the chat here. I see Greg's here. I see George was here. Everybody, I believe, has got, oh yes, Dorsal, I'm sorry, I'm going to put your on there. We're going to do Drunk LFC with Crapsy, 100%. One of the things that the guys from Casino Quest and I've talked about was getting Crapsy online and having a tournament that goes the entire 24 hours. So for those of you who want to play all night long, we're going to find a way to have a tournament stream going that I can flip back and forth between. So we're going to have that going the whole time. The live fantasy craps I've got scheduled at 8 o'clock in the morning will be actual like Craps Nation live filmed fantasy craps. That'll be so 2 different things, but we're doing that for sure. But yeah, I'll be rolling all night. I'll be taking like 5-10 minute segments, rolling a hand or 2 from the $5,000 bankroll the entire night. We've got ideas of, for example, Ed from Old to Win. He wants to do a deal where he's going to throw dice and have you all pledge a dollar amount for every box number that he hits during his hour while he's teaching me how to do dice control. It's going to be really, really cool. There's a lot going on here. I've got folks, Zoff, for example, has donated this amazing picture. I'll have to get a picture up on the website soon. It's an amazing like piece of art he wants to donate. I've got from Dave at Same Bet, I've got a stick of black Craps Nation dice. Greg's going to donate some dice. I've got Ken's going to donate one of his famous Hawaiian shirts. We got a whole thing. So hopefully everybody can do this, and just keep it in your mind, right? Save the date, Saturday, Sunday this weekend. Maybe save a trip to the casino during this week and save a little bit of cash for the cause, right? And that's what I'm hoping that we can do, is raise enough money this weekend to do some real tangible good. So I'm so excited about this thing. I'm doing push-ups. I'm eating better for the next 3 days. I'm going to try and make it so I can stay awake for 24 hours. Old school craps. Yeah, Charlie's going to be fun because Charlie and I think differently, right? I'm a trend follower. Charlie kind of is too, but Charlie definitely, and I'll ask him this. I want to get into his head a little bit about the gambler's fallacy that his whole system's based on. Like, that's not going to happen again, or that's going to happen again. When I get Shackelford on the next morning, he's the exact opposite. Shackelford is like pure math, and I think I want to see how those two minds work differently, and really get some education on my end too. So it's going to be super, super cool. It's going to be an educational night for me. And then what I'll do is, because I know you all can't stay for 24 hours, right? I know you can't. What I'll do is every hour that I'm with somebody, each of these hours that you're seeing on screen, I will cut the hour out of the video and I'll repost those with the person who I was with. So everybody's hour will be re-available on both my and their channel. So we'll always have all the content you can watch like directly, instead of having to wade through a 24-hour stream to find it. So that's all going to be there for sure. I think it's going to be wickedly cool to do this. It's kind of insane. And if it works out well, then I'll do it again. I'll do it again in the spring. We talked about doing like a Memorial Day type of thing, where we do a veteran sponsorship on Memorial Day. And this winter one is more of we'll figure it out. I think it's going to be great. I think people here are just, we all have, a little bit of disposable income. I think we all have a good heart, and I think it's going to be really, 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 really cool. So, and actually, I even talked to the guys at Sin City Living. They were going to join me as well. Unfortunately, in Vegas, it is National Finals Rodeo weekend, so they can't. Which would have been nice to have them on and actually grill them a little bit and have some good Q&A there. But it is what it is, right? We'll cycle through and we'll do this a couple times a year if it works out. So I'm excited. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about Bankroll. And I can tell you now, so everybody who's online with me now, and I can see Greg is here, George was here. Everybody who's online with me here, when your segment comes up in the live stream, I'm going to ask you about Bankroll. And I know we've all got pointed thoughts on Bankroll. Greg has been talking about it, and actually Jacob talked about it the other day too. Greg's got a short series that he's doing on volatility in your Bankroll. And Jacob has talked about this as well. And they've looked at it from this lens of like, what do you bring to the table? And Jacob says, bring 100 times what the table minimum is to bet. And Greg's got a different view of that. And I have another different view of that as well. So I follow what's called the rule of tens. And we'll talk about that during the week here, the next 3 days. But I want to talk to you about your different bankrolls today. And I think success in this game or any game depends, I believe, above everything else, right? Your strategy is one thing. The way that you throw is something else. The way that you view the math of the game, something else. It boils down to your bankroll and how do you manage your money? And I want you to, I'm just going to be like as simple as I can, because again, I don't know where everybody is level wise, right? And it doesn't matter where you are level wise with your money. The size of your bankroll does not matter. Okay, it doesn't matter. The fact that you manage your bankroll does matter. And you'll see here, I've got this note here about a 401g account. And what I do in the 401g account is this. I basically have a separate bank account that I keep totally separate from my family. And what goes, that bank account for me, it's funded by a number of sources. One, it's funded by gambling wins. So I take money out of there to gamble with. If I win, it goes back in with a little bit extra, hopefully. I fund that bank account from side work. So I do, as you know, I'm a computer programmer. Actually, I'm a teacher. I teach computer programming, but I do coding on the side. If I do get any side work, which I do from time to time, that money goes into the 401g account. I'll use, like, let's say I take a coding job and I make a few $1,000s on it. I'll pay some credit cards down or whatever I'm doing for us, and the excess goes into the 401g. That money in that account is only there for entertainment purposes. That money funds my plane ride, my car rental, my hotel, and my gambling. When I went to Vegas this last trip, I went down to Phoenix with my son to see the concert, rented a car, drove to Mesquite, went to Vegas, gambled for a couple of days. All that money was taken out of that account. And the nice thing about that trip was I did all that, played, and put the exact same money back in the account minus about $100. So the 401g account is my gambling account. It's literally there to gamble with, and to do these entertaining trips with and the meetups with. If I lose from that account, I don't care. It's money that I didn't intend to live on. It's money that's there purely for this purpose of doing this stuff. That account also paid for the light that you see and the table and the camera and all that stuff. That account paid for all of this. Nothing from my house. And I think that if you're going to go to the casino, and I call the casino the house, by the way, if you're going to go to the house, only bring money from that account. That's money that you don't care if you lose. And I think that if you take nothing out of today, take that out of it. Bring money you don't care about losing, because you're probably going to lose it. Right? These strategies that we run out here, they often win, but they often also can lose. So that's an account you've got to have and set up just for this, right? Then my second bankroll is my trip bankroll. And that's how much money I'm bringing to the house. Okay. When I go to my local casino, and I'm lucky, right? I get to drive 30 minutes I can get to 4 of them within 30 minutes. Some of you all live in Vegas or in Arizona or wherever where there's casinos nearby you and you can go often. The 401g account, when you're going to the casino more often, is a bigger deal, because you're going to be pulling from it all the time and using it kind of in sequence. If you're going to Vegas once a year, your 401g account, you might be saving in that account all year long and then popping the whole thing for a trip. Well, that's great. Your trip account, what you go to Vegas with, what I go to the casino with, is my trip money. So if I've got $5K in my account, I'm bringing 500 to the casino. I break my trip sessions usually into 10% of my overall bankroll. And then at the casino, you've got multiple sessions. So if let's say I bring 600 to the casino, for an example, I don't walk to the table and buy in for 6. I buy in for 2. And if I win or lose, I walk, I come back. I might rebuy in the same session if it's going in a direction I like. But I break my going to the bank or going to the house money into 3 parts as well. So I manage myself where I don't ever put all of it at risk. And Greg would talk to you about volatility, right? And volatility is how much, to me, what percentage of your bankroll you're going to put at risk. Right? So if I have 1,000 and I'm putting $10 at risk, that's almost no volatility. If I have 1,000, I'm putting 500 at risk, it's a huge potential volatility to my account. So think of it in terms of percentages. I see Brian, I used to play with just markers. Yeah, this is interesting. That's a really good way to say it. I play with just markers, but I stopped. I found I had to pay the casino back. Yeah, right. Some people do have markers. Like I know people who have markers at like 7 casinos in Vegas because they go so often that their 401g is their marker at the casinos. And it's money that wasn't from their personal account. They just walk up to the casino, give me $1,000 out of my marker or out of my account, and play with that money while they're there. It's an interesting approach to it. Anyway, back to it here. My bank account funds my trip. My trip funds 3 sessions. And my session funds 10 hands or 10 series. And I break my money down into those segments all the time. The fourth bankroll is interesting, the hand or the series bankroll, because I typically play strategies, as you know, that are a set number of dollars per shooter or 10 shots at what I'm trying to do. Not every strategy works that way. So the ones that I typically play do. I can break my Headless Horseman into 4 units. I can break my Come Ladder into 7 units. I can do 10 slots of 7 units to play that strategy. You may not have that. You may have a 3-point molly where you're going like in series. You may have, like Greg does, the Don't Come or the don't pass rather, where you just straight don't pass and it just comes, you kind of funding from your whole bankroll kind of as a big shot. That's fine, but make sure you got enough in there to cover yourself to get around the table and know how you're going to separate those wins. I think it's a big and important piece that we very often miss, is how to manage our money at the rail. And you know me, I talk about that constantly, right? And Waylon's got a really good point here. And I think this is one that we're going to start with today. The $15 don't pass is the best bankroll management until you start betting your strategy. That the $15 don't might have to be your entire strategy for some people. And I want to talk about that when we go to the table, because the way that you play at the table is determined by two things: your session bankroll, how much are you buying in for, what table minimum is, and that'll tell you what you can and can't do and how long you may or may not want to play. So I think we got to talk about breaking it all down. And again, we'll start from the top. How much is in my bank account? How much of that am I pulling out for this trip? From that trip, how can I break it into 3 pieces? And at the table, how can I break that into 10 sessions or 10 hands? If you do all those things, you're going to be pretty safe, and you have a goal. Each hand has a goal. If I've got $200 and I put $20 out on the table, I expect that 20 to win me 10. I'm looking to win half of what I put out there at least every time, at a minimum. If I win more than that, that's aggression money. I can go a little bit harder. If I'm looking at a $200 buy-in, that $200 buy-in's job is to win me another 40 or $50, right? Or 10 or 20 or 25% of itself. You got to have goals for each of those pieces. So my hand goal, my session goal, my trip goal, and my overall goal, they all stay in line and I never forget it. So that's my overall thoughts on it. And again, when you're on, for those of you who are here, when you're on the show with me, the live stream, you can expect a question from me on how you manage your bankroll, because I want to know what's different from what I do. The way I do it here is this. The way you do it is probably different. And I want to know what folks are out there doing. Again, there may be a different way. I know that Charlie has a very special way of doing his bankroll. And it's not about the amount that Charlie from DGE. Charlie and I have talked offline about using the 401g account as a corporation, even. I've been setting up like an LLC that has your 401g in it. And that way the tax implications of wins in there are separate from your personal life. So there's ways to even take that a step further if you're doing this more often than not and you're experiencing bigger wins. So again, I'll ask Charlie about that for sure, but I know that the rest of you have got your thoughts, and I want to make sure I am able to capture that during our live stream. So with that said, let's head over to the table real quick. And I want to run through just a couple of quick ideas here before we cut it for the day. And Brian, I'm drinking out of your mug today. I got your Hawaii Crap Shooters mug, so hopefully you can see that here. Now, I guess you can't see it on this. Wait, there we go. I'll put it here so you can see it. I'll put it in the horn. There you go, Brian. So let's say you've got a $2,000 bankroll, $2,000 401g account. Okay, the rule of tens to me says if I have $2,000 in my 401g account, I'm going to put 10% of that at risk. And the rule of tens is this: I'll put 10 white chips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 white chips to represent your 401g account or your overall bank account. And what I would do, my theory on gambling, my theory at the craps table has always been, let's take 10 bullets to the table. Let's take 10 shots at it. Around the table, I'm going to have enough money to play on 10 shooters, thinking that one of those shooters will have the roll that I need to earn me that profit. I'm going to put these 10 chips at risk. From my 401g account, if I've got $2,000 in my account, each of these chips represents $200. 10% of that 2,000, I'm bringing one of them with me to the casino. And that's represented actually here. This is $200 in red chips. Okay, so my 401g account, I don't have the volatility in that account. I will risk 10% of that account on every trip to the casino. My volatility threshold for my 401g is 10%. My volatility threshold for a shooter at the table also is 10%. So from an overall, how I look at things, that is how I approach it. So I'm a 10% guy when it comes to pulling out of the 401g. I'm a 10% guy at the table. At the session, during my buy-in with my $200 here, my 10% is this. It's $20 per shooter. If I have $200 that I bought in with, I've only got $20 to play with on a given shooter, right? Buying in for 200 does not let you do 160 across one time and say a Hail Mary and hope it's all gonna work out. It's not the way that we do this, right? You've got to break it into smaller chunks and let this 20 bucks do its job, hopefully 10 times in a row. And that's the way you do it. You grow that up into something else. So let's go ahead and take the 10 down. And I'll actually put them over here just to remind ourselves. I'm going to keep the 10 visual. There's your 10 cracks at it. Now in the rack, Brian's right. What I will do in the rack is I'll break this up. If we're playing today, let's put it all in here. And that's why I have the separators. You know this about me, right? My separators are there to give me visual cues as to how many shooters I have remaining in my rack. There's 4, there's 5, 6. Sorry, I'm doing this backwards, so it's hard for me to do it fast. Okay, 8, 9, and here's the last one. Okay, there's my 10 shooters. So I have 10 bullets in the gun, basically. That's the way that I look at this. I have 10 bullets in the gun, and each bullet has to do a job. Now, when you're on a light bankroll like this, you got to think about let me get the light on for you. On a light bankroll of 200 bucks, if you're going to follow the rule of tens and put 10% of that at risk for every shooter, you've got 20 bucks that you can actually play with. Let's put this over here. With 20 bucks, your options are limited with 20 bucks. Okay? You can take the 20 bucks and do a $6 6 and 8. Again, you're going to find a smaller table, a $6 6 and 8. You can't even do a $12 6 and 8. You don't have enough money to do that. You can go 12 on one of them and 6 on the other, right? You can go 6 on each, or you can do a pass line bet for $5 and then come up behind it with, let's get some whites here, with 12 and odds and have $3 extra. You can do something like that, right? But you got to think about what strategy will you play. And all the things we talk about on all of these channels, it comes down to brass tacks when you put your actual money out here and what you've got is 200 bucks. And how the hell are you going to spend 200 bucks in a smart way? This, to me, smartest way to do it, right? Come out with a $5 don't pass, $5 don't pass and $12 laying in odds on it. No matter what comes up, you're laying $12 in odds. The 4 and the 10 will pay you 6. The 5 and the 9, they'll pay you 8, and the 6 and 10 will pay you 10. That's a good way to get out of the gate. Let that thing work for you. You can take this $3 if you'd like and go with the hard ways. Pick 3 of the hard ways. You can take one of those dollars and go for the 11 on the come out, whatever you want to do, but you got really that to play with. And you got to be smart about it. If that's not what you want to do, if you're more of a right side person, then come and do this. Just do a $6 6 and 8. Leave this up in your rack. Let one of those bets resolve and pick up something else and grow it out. But you've got to be super careful when you're at a low bankroll. And you're not going to dip into here because you feel like it's going well. You're going to stay with what you brought for the shooter. And I think it's important to let each of these 20 bucks has a job to do, which is to win you at least a nickel or 10 bucks so you can grow this out. And once you get to 250, now you got $25 per shooter instead of 20, and now you can do a $12 6, $12 8. You can switch sides, and you can go more light side. When you have 25, you can do a 22 inside. You have more options the more your bankroll is, but at the lowest level, you got to know, what can I do with what I brought? And I think that's an important question. Again, there's 20 bucks. What can I do with what I brought? How do I break down what I brought in enough small chunks to give me 10 cracks at it? If you're going to come in here and go drop into 150 out here across, you put half your bankroll at risk. That's too volatile. And Greg would drive to your house probably and smack you a little bit. That's way too volatile to do that. Putting half your bankroll at risk on any one shot is way too tough, right? So you can use your little bankrolls to fund where you're going to be. I think that's the way to look at it. You're saying lay the 4 better. Yeah. Again, it's the way you see it, Waylon, right? It's whatever. I'm going to put this out here actually so people can see what you said. I think it's important to give yourself options based on how you see the world, right? You could take your 20 bucks and just lay the 4, if that's the way you see the world. You can do whatever you want to with it, but remember, you're not digging into that after your initial 20. So that's what I would do. Yeah, so what and Brian asked this. If I lost my money on a shooter and he keeps going, I wait it out 100%. So if I go and say, let's say my shooter is don't pass with $12 odds, and I go pick 3 of the hard ways, and the shooter hits the 5. The 5 is the point, hits the 5, and I'm out, done. I wait till the next shooter. That's what I do. I'm not gonna dig back in here and take another shot with the same shooter. I let it go. That's me. That's me. I wanted to get around the table. If that shooter gets hot, you might consider dipping in. Me, I wait it out. I go to the next person. That's just the way that I play it because I'm gonna be there a while. I was talking to my good friend Greg last night about this. And sometimes, and we've had this talk before, so Waylon's gonna yell at me. Sometimes I go to the casino and I'm not there to hit and run, right? A lot of times I hit and run. When I go locally, I'm there to hit and run. When I go with my wife, I call her, I love my wife. She's a camel at the casino. She can play for 8, 9, 10 hours. She's lucky, number one, as you know from the podcast, she's lucky, and she'll play for 8 hours. And what am I gonna do for 8 hours? I gotta find a way to play for 8 hours. So sometimes my strategies are simple like this, where I can just grind for 8 hours. And I don't mind, Brian, I don't mind letting another shooter just go while I watch them play for the next one, because it's time. Sometimes I gotta kill some time and make it work. So let's play it out. Let's take this $20 bankroll and let's try, what time is it? We got 8:45 or so. Let's try and build it up a little bit. And we'll do exactly that. We're gonna go $5 don't pass, puck will be off, and let's just see what happens. If we can turn this 200 bucks into even 220, I'd be super happy with that. Going from 200 to 220 is a pretty good starting move here, and then we can see we can grow from that point. So I'm just gonna go ahead and, I'm not gonna set. What I'm doing, by the way, however the dice come to me, I'm just gonna pick them up. I'm gonna get a good grip. I'm just gonna try and control my shot, but I'm not gonna do any kind of a set. I'm just gonna throw, it'll be like me practicing landing zone, but with random sets. So we're gonna go to the 9. And again, we're gonna go ahead and do $12 on every single point, right? The straight Greg system. Now, if I want to get some other action, I can take the $3 and I can grab 3 of the hard ways. I'm not going to do it right now, but that's certainly an option for you if you want to get some fun and have something else to root for besides just big red. That's not a bad way to go. There's a 5, a 4, 1, 5. We're just playing against the 7 here. There's the 9. So we lost it. So that shooter is done. We lost our shot at that shooter. It happens. This $3 is no more for that shooter. The next shooter we try. This is not a case where you wait it out. This is a case where it's a new person coming out. Jump on the don't pass. Let them establish a number, and hopefully we get some good action here. There's going to be another 9. It's 3 9s. Wow. Back to the 9 we go. And again, we're going to go get 5 whites. Lay them out. Keep the whites together in the rack. I'll eventually trade those things in. A terrible throw. It's a 1, 2, 3, the shocker. I think neither one of those dice at the back wall, I just let them slip out of my hands like that. Let's go again. That's a little better. All right, there's an 8. Again, which doesn't matter. We just need a little 7 right here for us. And if you're keeping score at home, there's another 9. What's happening here, right? If you're a trend spotting person, what have you noticed? What is the shooter doing right here? You can put it in chat if you want to, but the shooter right now hasn't hit a 7 yet. They're actually doing pretty good. So my setting, I guess, or my toss is on point today, which means you might want to change, right? We've lost 2 shooters on the don't in a row, okay? Let's take another one out here. This might be the time to bypass the come out roll and take your 20 bucks and do a little bit of an inside series, okay? If you look at my bankroll, there's an 8, hard 8. I've got this. I've got 20 bucks for this shooter. I've got some whites from before. What I could do here is do like maybe the 5, 6, 8, and 9 for 22. And let's do a quick 22 inside. I'll take that shooter's 20 bucks plus the change I had from before, and we're gonna switch in midstream here. And again, we're sticking to our guns. We're staying within the shooter. And we're gonna grab a few extra targets. Now, an option could have been $12, 6, and 8 to do a regression. There's a hit on the 8. That'll pay 7 bucks, okay? We're gonna rack that up. I may go press on a subsequent hit here, we'll see. Another 8, that's awesome. There's 7 bucks. We're gonna go ahead and press that by 1 unit. Get back to the rack. There's a hard 10, which we're not on. There's a hard 8, it pays 14. We'll pay 15 for 1. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and collect that. So we did a press and then a collect. And I want you to look at the rack really quick. What I got here already from this shooter is 20 bucks. We've already earned back one of the bullets that we lost earlier. We've earned that money back. And in fact, I've got the money out here still that I could replenish the entire thing. What I'll probably do here is take 1 or 2 more hits and we'll call it good on this shooter, and I'll pull the money down. Again, at low bankroll levels here, when you've lost twice, it's really important to get out of dodge when you can. There's another 6, 4, 10. I should have been across. But fear of missing out is not a thing, right? You stick to what you've got and you count your wins. There's another 8. Wow, 15 for 1 again we'll do. 15 for 1. And again, I'm gonna pull this back to my rack. And if you take a look here with my whites, there's 5 whites. If I were to turn these in, I need to because I'm getting low on whites. For a nickel, go to my rack. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 bullets back there in the gun, which is great. I've got at least 20 bucks. I've got $28 out here on the table. I'm technically in profit right now after losing twice. A quick note of the trend of that table, and I reverse course. This is gonna be my last throw here for the shooter. There's a 6, which pays 7. That was 5 score hits on this shooter. I'm out. Here's the discipline. When you're on a low bankroll, let's evaluate where we are. Pull this back to the rack. There's gonna be 10 shots. There's our 10 initial, and I've got 16 bucks in profit. So my rack has done its job. My rack has done its job. Yeah, I hit the point. I'm sorry, you're right, I hit the point. My rack did its job. Thanks, Honey Beginnings. I keep forgetting that when I'm talking. Excuse me. The rack, the small change we made going from dark to light because we saw that quick trend helped us, right, get into a small profit situation. And again, when you're at a $200 bankroll, 15 bucks in profit, that's a lot, right? We're working our way up here to a high percentage. Now, we'll let it keep rolling here. We'll let our point, I guess our point is probably still because I didn't change it. I will watch now on the small bankroll. We're gonna watch. We're gonna be careful here and let this thing resolve itself, and then I'll come back out again with new money, but a little bit extra on that next shot. And again, just try to be a little careful here. I want to build myself up. There's another 8. Good gravy. Okay, there's the 8. Let's call that a point because I forgot the other ones. So let's go ahead and make one adjustment now. Okay, we've come out. We had got whacked twice here. We had a good little run in here. Let's let the shooter establish a new point. It's going to be the shocker 1, 2, 3. Ooh, they kissed. There's the 7. But again, we're off the pass line, so it doesn't matter. We're not on either line. These don't count. They count. They count for everybody else. They don't count for this for our purposes here. That's a leaner. It's going to be a 6 when I pull it off the wall. I hit it wrong, but that's a 6, 2, 8 for the next point. Now, I've got profit here. I've got 20 bucks here for the next shooter. What do you want to do with that money? Right? I'm rolling 6s and 8s a lot for this shooter. I'm going to go out with 12. I'll take a little bit of profit. I'll come out with 12 each. And we're going to let that roll. So I pulled my 20 plus a couple out of the profit stack, and we'll let that try and build itself up. We'll see how that works out. There's a 3 again. Again, this might be a quick regression. Again, to try and build up that 200 into something. Boxcars, but we're hitting a lot of horn numbers here. Seven. Okay, there's final. We got a 7 out. Didn't work out that time. So, but notice where we are. We're still just a couple of bucks light of being back to where we started from. So again, when you work a bankroll, and I'm going to turn the light off here and go back to the camera. When you work a bankroll like that, notice how I was careful with it the entire time. Go back to myself here. Let's see. There I am. Okay. When you're careful about the way you manage your rack, take the glare off there. You can last a little longer, and you have a goal in mind, right? The goal in mind there is to build up that 200 so where I have at least one shot where I can do something a little bit more aggressive, double 6 and double 8, or maybe go across on a bet and take a little bit of the profits that I'd earned to do that. So you can work it a little bit. When you're small, like so, that's a way to go. If that was 2,000 instead of 200, and I have 200 per shooter instead of 20 per shooter, that changes what you can do. Now you can go 160 across. You have more options with the higher levels, but at the low level, it's fine. And frankly, a $2,000, I'll go back to the other screen, a $2,000, not that one, a $2,000 401g is 200 bucks at the table. You got to, even if you have 2K in the bank, you got to bring 200 bucks to the casino. And you got to play at that level to build that thing up. And I think working the rule of tens is the most important lesson I can give you. And again, your bankroll determines what 10% of it looks like, but you've got to stick to it. Otherwise, you're going to get burned, and you're going to bring 2K to the bank, empty your bank account, lose the whole thing, and you're going to hate life. We don't want to do that. Greg asked me the other night, why do I have a channel? Like, what's the point of having a YouTube channel? The point is conversations like this, where we get to talk about actual money and actual life. And my goal is not to make money here. My goal is to help you not get your ass kicked. And that's the entire point of it. I see some discussion here. I'm looking at chat. I see Greg saying, Waylon, I think it'd be interesting if you make a channel. That's interesting. Is Waylon, you think about making a channel? Waylon's got lots of interesting ideas on this game for sure. I think Waylon's got a more aggressive bent to the way that he plays than most of us do, which is fine. If you have the bankroll to support that, that's great. If you don't have the bankroll to support it, you've got to come out here and work your system to build to a bankroll that you can be aggressive with. And you'll notice here, I worked a system that didn't work. I switched systems. I got a little bit of profit. Then I got aggressive, and we ended up doing okay. And that's the way that I work things. I definitely work the table to get to where I want to be. And I think that's the thing that people forget to do is like, you see a trend and you dive in with both feet, you belly flop into that damn thing. And I don't want to see that, right? Today, the bankroll today was, I assumed, a $2,000 401g account. That's why I bought in for 200 here at this one session. That's what I brought, was a $200 session for this one. So in this particular example, that's what it was. And yeah, I'm looking at the chat here. So we're going to give you some life advice here. We're going to switch I have 4 minutes left. So we're going to talk to Waylon directly. Wait, make a channel, dude. And anybody out there who's got good thoughts, you know what it takes to make a YouTube channel? It takes one of these. Honestly, it takes this phone and an email address. That's all you need. You make a YouTube account. You all have them. You can literally flip the switch and say, I'd like to put a video up there. You film it with your iPhone, which is what I did for the first 6 months or so I was doing this, or 3 months I was doing this. And then I bought a nice camera. It's not hard to do a YouTube channel. It just takes dedication. And it takes a willingness to come out here and mumble and fail every day, right? It's okay to do that. Right, so Honey Beginnings is saying this. If you have a $1,000 401g, it's $100 a session. That's hard. You're gonna work it. What I'd probably do there is what we just did. I would do a flat don't pass for a little bit. And as you win those things, you build it up. There's no other way to do it unless you're going to accept the volatility of saying, out of my 1,000, I'm going to bring 5. If you're accepting of a 50% volatility, you can bring 500 or 200, but know that you're putting it all at risk. And I think that's definitely risk tolerance is a personal thing. Me, I don't want to put more than 10% of my overall bankroll or 10% of my session bankroll ever at risk at once. I don't like to have that kind of volatility. If you're okay with 20%, you can take 1,000 and bring 200. Or if you want more, you can bring 300. But again, if you bring 300 out of your 1,000, you only got 3 trips to the casino in you. And that's when you start playing with what you call scared money. And it's hard. So maybe this is a thing we should talk about at some point, because what do you do if you have $100 and you're at a $10 table? To me, if I have $100 that's all I've got, I'm probably playing bubble craps. I'm probably going to the dollar bubble craps and I'm playing for $1 and rolling it from there. Think of it this way. If you're I'm going to put that back on. I wonder if I can lock that on screen somehow. If you're playing bubble craps for $1 minimum and you have $100 that you bought in for, that's like buying into a $10 table with $10,000 or $1,000 rather, right? You're like the master of it. You've got this bankroll that's enormous for the table minimum. $100 in bubble craps for $1 is a huge bankroll. And if you work these strategies like that at that smaller level, you're going to be okay. So that's the way I think about it. I think everything's relative. I wouldn't bring $100 to a $10 table. I think it's almost impossible to win enough to do that. So, I love the chat. I'm talking about money and bankrolls, and you guys are yakking about Waylon starting a channel. That's great. Skill Luck wants to know this. Do I think low level needs hedging? No, I don't. Unless I'm scared, right? So if I have $100, let's go back. I'll show you a quick table view. If I have this $20 and I'm coming out here with, let's say, $5 on the don't pass, right? What can beat me here is the 7 or the 11. If I do $1 on any 7 to protect that, that's $1 difference, right? I'm either going to lose $1 on the 7, or if a number gets set like the 6, this bet's only worth $4. I don't think it's worth protecting. If I put $1, let's move these out of the way. If I put $1 on the yo, that also would lose this bet. Again, it becomes a $4 bet when a point gets set. And yeah, I'd win a little bit there. I don't typically hedge on this bet until I'm at least the $15 level where $1 covers it, or where that loss represents a big enough percentage of my bankroll that it would hurt. In other words, let's say I'm doing, let me go back to the picture here. Let's say I'm doing, I'll put your comment back up there, Skill and Lux, we can talk about it. Let's say that I have a $100 bankroll or $200 bankroll, and I'm doing 25 on the don't pass. That $25 represents more than 10% of my overall bankroll. That's worth protecting. And that's when I make the hedging decision. Like when that loss becomes a big hit to my bankroll, I'll try and hedge that one loss for a short bit. And that's kind of how I do that. Let's see. Duracell wants my win goal at 200 bankroll. Yeah, it's 20%. I'm always at 20%. And $200 is a $200 bankroll is $40. Okay. And if you think about this, let's talk about, we go here. If you had $200 in your bankroll and you were to win, let's just get this going here. Let's say that over the course of a session, you won $50, right? And your goal was $40. 20% is 40. You win 50. What you technically have in your bankroll, let's do this. Let's go 25, 35. There's 40. You've got 10 extra dollars, right? Your starting bankroll is safe. Your win goal is 40. That money's going home. You have 10 extra bucks to play with. I would put this money here out. I would take the 10 and do a 6 and 8 or whatever I'm going to do with it. That excess money, I call that plus money. The excess money now is things you can win extra money on. You know you're going to go home locked here. Take the excess money or your plus money, put that in play. If that earns, whatever this earns, let's say I put $10 and then don't pass and it wins. What I would do with that is take half of my win and lock it up. Now I have $15 in excess money. Put $10 there and I can go $6 here. And if the 8 hits again, right? To me, that's $3 in the excess. This comes back to my rack. And I work it that way where I take my overage, put it to work for me, and I play this game where I put half in the savings account and half at risk of what I've earned above and beyond the my target. So yes, I'm definitely a percentage person. And I've said this to you before. I'll put your comment back up, Dorcel. Excuse me. If you hired an investment banker or a stock manager, like I've got one, a financial guy, that guy is talking to me once a month for an hour about how he's working his ass off to get me 5% or 6% on my money, right? If you get 5% in the market, you're doing great. You get 5% here, you think you lost. 5% is good. 5% is a great return. 20% is an amazing return. And that's definitely my view on it. So I think 20% is a really hard thing to earn on the regular. So if I get it, I get it. So I want to put this up here, and I don't like to do this, but I'm going to put it up here because I want to say thank you to Brian for saying this. Sure, it takes time in planning and broadcasting for sure. And Jeff says this too, anybody can start a channel, but produce the quality of what we do. And I'm going to say we, because Jeff and Brian and Greg, quality work. It takes a lot of planning. It takes equipment, it takes knowledge, and it takes guts to some degree. So, you know, look at me. We talked about this last night, Greg. I put my full name, my phone number, my face, I'm all out here, right? It's hard to do that. So this is not the life for everybody, for sure, to put yourself out there like I do every day, but I love doing it. Like this, I'm a teacher. And since my job has changed, I don't teach anymore. I develop curriculum now and I'm in a lot of meetings and stuff. So this is my chance to like do my thing. Like I love being in front of the camera and talking to y'all and teaching through this stuff and playing a little bit, even if I don't play a long time. You know, I know Jacob likes to roll for 45 minutes on his channel. I don't typically do that. I can, but I'd rather talk to you about concepts and theory and then demonstrate a short thing so that you can go home and work it yourself with the way that you want to do it. So I think that's sort of the wheelhouse. And I encourage you to do it. Waylon, if you do it, you would have a lot of fun, right? Again, it ain't easy, but you'd have a ton of fun doing it because I think your strategies are fun to play. I think people enjoy watching us roll them out. I typically don't roll strategies out, as you know. I don't do it, other people's work, because unless something really speaks to me and I'm gonna maybe make it one of my toolbox strategies, I don't roll them out because that's not my thing, but you know, it could be your thing. So I think, yeah, Mid-Atlantic, this is very true. Take criticism. We love the criticism. I think criticism is tough, right? What I say in my work, and maybe you all should hear this too. Here we are pontificating at 9:05. I say to my job, I teach adults computer programming, and we do a weekly survey every week. So our students always fill out a form every week that says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how did we do? Where could we improve? What did you like a lot? Like that kind of thing. And I use the words, feedback is a gift. And feedback is a gift. If somebody's going to take the time to type into the comment section of my YouTube channel, or somebody's going to take the time to jump in live with us here, we have 27 people live today, and write in a comment or chat with me, that's a commitment that you've made to me to give me your thoughts and your heart, right? to me, that's a gift. And I think, Jeff, we can call it, and sometimes it definitely is criticism. It's critical, what I say, critical feedback or honest feedback. I'll love it. Honest feedback's great. When I screw something up like I did today by not taking off the point, that's honest feedback that says, John, you're going too fast. Slow yourself down, get your points right. And I enjoy the critical feedback as much as I enjoy people saying that I'm doing a great job. I enjoy even more when people say you screwed it up. Here's where I need you to go, because you're telling me with your critical feedback that I'm not giving you what you need. And so that's the way that I run the whole channel, is I'm trying to provide what you need. And I get that from your comments and from the emails. And sometimes the emails are angry. Sometimes the comments aren't great. But I look at it like, hey, it's a chance for me to get better. And I think that is definitely the way that I approach it. I know that Greg and the other guys that I follow and are friends with approach it the same way. Like, we want to improve, and we want to improve you. Like, I ran a $200, $20 per shooter strategy today. That was, it's not the most exciting thing, but I'm here to, hopefully impress upon you the importance of managing the money you've got in a smart way, because I want you to play this game forever. I don't want you to go out there and lose your entire bank account in one afternoon because you tried something that didn't work. You learn this game by small amounts. And like I said, $1 bubble craps with $100 bankroll, you're like a high roller on that particular table. When your bankroll is 100 times what the buy-in is, what the minimum bet is, you're a high roller, and you can do a lot of things and practice stuff without getting hurt too bad. So that is, that's it. That's my show today. I think I said a lot more than I planned to, but that's good. Thanks everybody for joining. I just said it. I appreciate every second that you're with me. I appreciate every comment that I get. I appreciate every bit of it. And I really love the intelligent conversation that I see in chat. I can't get to all the chats because there's a lot of them. So I catch bits and pieces as I'm talking. But I know there's always such smart debate in here about what to do, what I should have done or what you would do in my stead. That's great stuff. And I think that's what makes the audience such a smart audience. And that's what I think grows everything. So what I do is I read these afterwards, and then I start trying to incorporate that for future shows. So again, thanks everybody for coming. Good luck at the tables. Have a great day at work if you're going to work. And if not, I'll see you tomorrow. God bless everybody. Thanks again for being here.